Good afternoon or good evening now, everybody. I've been chasing storms for, oh, about 2 hours now, in and out of a lot of valleys and small towns, and my cell service wasn't the greatest. So rather than be interrupted with bad cell coverage, I just decided I would wait until I got into an area where the cell service was pretty much guaranteed. So I am in Platteville, Wisconsin, which is northeast of Dubuque, Iowa, and southwest of Madison, Wisconsin. I would say a little closer to Dubuque than Madison. There is a storm to the south and west of me, and that's where you're seeing the lightning from right now. There's also another storm to the west of me developing. So as that storm approaches, I will turn the camera around and I will stream that storm moving in. There was a small chance of a few short-lived tornadoes. I haven't seen anything but severe warned storms on the radar. So if the tornadoes are short-lived now, if they're not seen on radar, then they're not going to be seen because it's getting dark. Like I said, I am in Platteville, Wisconsin. I'm on the northwest side of town, I believe, if not the west side of town. I'm parked at a Quick Trip, and we're getting a few sprinkles. So we'll just wait and see how things develop as the night goes on. There's a little bit of light in the sky over there to the south. And when I'm done here, of course, I'll have to head on back home. I probably won't get home till at least midnight. So it'll be an interesting next couple of hours. This is the Weather Monkey. Like I've said before, this is a hobby of mine. It's not a living. So the most important thing you can do for me is hit that like button and subscribe. There's no cost to subscribe. I don't have a monetized account, so you don't have to worry about me asking for money. Just sit back and enjoy your Saturday evening and enjoy a thunderstorm rolling through southwest Wisconsin. If for some reason the storm straight out to the west does dissipate, then I will probably end the stream and head on home. That remains to be seen. There was a chance, like I said earlier, for disruptive severe thunderstorms to come through this area earlier today. But the problem was there was storms that came through around noon and destabilized the air. So it's basically taken till sunset for the air to become generalized enough to set off storms. So it's basically taken till sunset for the air to become generalized enough to. And that was just a little test of my sound. Make sure my sound's working right. Like I said, I hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday evening. There are a few storms south of me that have gone severe. And it'd be interesting to chase them down, but the only problem is you get into the heavy rain and then a little bit of hail and you can't really see anything. So you're better off being off on the side of these storms in the evening and just enjoying the lightning. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's just starting to sprinkle a little bit here. This is about the third time I've chased and have ended up near Platteville. One time I chased through here and kept going east and took a lot of back roads and ended up in a community where a tornado had just gone through. And there was leaves and stuff falling from the sky, and there were branches and 2x4s in the road. So that was interesting on one of my trips through Platteville. I am sitting, like I said, at a Quick Trip. It's a pretty high vantage point. I can probably see over 90% of the town. The town is somewhat in a valley. There's a Walmart across the street from me and a Menards. A McDonald's. A Arby's. An AW. Down the street a little farther, there's a Culver's. There's also a Burger King across the street. Tidal Wave Car Wash. Matter of fact, last time I was here, I had a month of Tidal Washes unlimited. And I bought it back in Winona, Minnesota, where I live. And I drove down here and I took some gravel roads. And I saw that car wash there and I had the month free, so I had the pass on my windshield. So I drove up and I'm like, you think it'll work here? And the guy says, well, the only way we'll find out is have you drive in. And I drove in and it worked. So I got my car washed while I was here. Of course, didn't make much difference because it did get rained on the way back home. But I got all the dust and dirt off of it. So that storm off to the west is just about here. And like I said, I'm at a quick trip, so if it does start hailing, I can just back underneath the canopy. Which reminds me, I bought gas here before I came over here and parked. And I put my card in the pump and it says, do you want 25 cents off a gallon? I'm like, well, sure I do. I know I had 5 cents off a gallon, but I didn't realize I had 25 cents off a gallon. And with my Quick Trip card, I get an automatic 3 cents off a gallon. So it ended up 28 cents off a gallon. Oh, let's see if it says on the receipt anything about a fuel saver. No, it just says I paid $2.71 a gallon. Well, $2.72. Kind of reminds me of a few weeks ago when I went out to Sioux Falls and I stopped at a Quick Trip. I put my card in and it gave me 30 cents off a gallon. What the heck? So I went in the store and I asked the store clerk, I'm like, how did I get 30 cents off a gallon for my fuel? I don't remember having any rewards. He said, well, this is a newer store and they're trying to draw on new customers, so if you have a quick rewards card, debit card, you get 30 cents off a gallon until the end of October, I think it was. So yeah, I'm looking on the receipt here and I don't see anything that says, it just says you save 25 cents a gallon and you save 3 cents a gallon. 28 cents. But I'll take it. So like I said, we're waiting for the storm to show up. Looks like it has weakened a little bit, but there's another storm behind it. And if they stay at the level they are, I might just head out if they don't seem to intensify any. But I'll give it another 10 minutes and see what happens. And if they don't intensify, then I'll just start heading home. Crack the windows here a little bit. That way I get some air in here. I have these window vents, and they work pretty good. You can roll the window down about 2 inches without worried about getting any water in the vehicle. So it'll be a late night for me by the time I get home. So I think when I leave here, I will head over to Lancaster, Wisconsin, pick up 61 north, go through Fenimore, Wisconsin, then keep going north through Boscobel, and then up through Viroqua, Westby, and into the south side of La Crosse. And then through downtown La Crosse, well, south side of downtown. And then cross over the river at La Crescent and then head north to Winona. So the rain's starting to pick up. So I should probably run my wipers a little more. Because the camera likes to focus on the raindrops on the windshield and not the stuff off in the distance. I know when I first pulled up here, the wind was out of the south. I'm trying to find a bright enough light. It looks like it's still out of the south. Like I said, who's ever watching, thank you. I'm just waiting on this storm to roll through here. Now the rain's starting to get a little heavier. Sometimes my weather-wise radar doesn't want to animate, so I have to go back in and double-click on the animation tab. If I'm not paying attention all the time, I don't notice it. It updates, but it doesn't animate. Actually, does look like a little bit of hail is on its way. Probably not too big. I'm going to start my vehicle up for a few minutes, make sure the battery stays charged as long as I have the wipers running. So you might lose a little bit of the sound of the thunder if you can hear it. So far, it's been an interesting day. Drove over to Madison. The storm went severe. Caught up to it. Wasn't much, a little bit of wind and rain. Came out of Madison, went down to about Janesville. Headed west from there, about halfway between Janesville and Dubuque. Went south from there into Illinois, a little town called Warren. Sat there and watched a severe thunderstorm. Like I said, it was just a lot of rain and a little bit of wind. So you couldn't really see much when it was pouring rain, so I didn't live stream it. Now I've worked my way up to Platteville, Wisconsin, and I'm sitting at a Quick Trip. If you're familiar with the area, there's a Walmart and a Menards across the street. And the Quick Trip is rather elevated. I can see the roof of both Menards and Quick Trip from where I'm sitting, so I'm elevated. So I hope everyone's having a good evening. probably going to be the heaviest of the rain here. So I don't think it's going to get any heavier than this. And I've been sitting here for about 15 minutes now. So probably just head back home, keep the live stream on until I run out of the lightning, thunder, and rain. So this is the Weather Monkey. I'm in Platteville, Wisconsin. I'm at the Quick Trip, and I think I'm going to start heading eastbound from Platteville over to Lancaster, Wisconsin. So we'll have to go through downtown Platteville. That'll be interesting. Then we'll head out the west side over to Lancaster, Wisconsin. When we get out in the rural areas, there'll probably be more lightning visible. Well, that made no sense. The light, I pulled up to it, it went red. And the cars oncoming had green. It's not that busy of an intersection. They can't just put both directions green at the same time. So right now I'm heading straight west. The worst thing in an unfamiliar city is driving on their roads in the rain. I know in the southern states they put reflectors in the mediums or in the center. But in the northern states you can't really do that because you gotta plow the roads in the winter time. And you'll basically scrape all the reflectors off. There is a way to do it. They have like shoulders on them, and they cut them and they put them into the cement or asphalt, and they just leave a quarter inch of the reflector above the plane of the road. So when they do plow, the plow blade goes over the shoulders of the reflector and it doesn't damage it. But that's a lot more costly. There's a lot more cost to that than just putting the reflectors down with 2 rivets into the concrete or asphalt. So it's not seen everywhere. It is seen in spots. I've seen it. On the interstates, some of them do that in certain places. So we're starting to get some lightning from that storm that's moving in from the west. Have to remember how to get through town. Oh yeah, that's right. Just follow where the quick trips are. So we'll make it through town here and then we'll head over to Lancaster. If I don't get lost with these detours. I've seen more detours this summer than a lot of other summers. It seems like every time I go out and storm chase, there's a detour somewhere. And they're not just like this one here, which is pretty simple. They're 20 minutes out of the way, both directions. So they're about 40-minute detours. And it's like you don't even want to go back to the road you were on because get to the detour and it's like, okay, I might as well stay north of here or I might as well stay south of here and continue rather than go another 12 miles back and head the same direction, just in a different location. So we're going to stay on 81 west to Lancaster, I believe. So Wisconsin State Road, Wisconsin 81. And as you can see, the rain's let up a little bit here. But the lightning seems to be getting a little bit more intense. Like I said, we'll keep the stream going as long as the lightning's out there. See if we can catch some good C to G lightning, cloud to ground lightning on the stream. Look over to my left west. So I am heading west. I'm out of Platteville now. And if you like watching lightning, this should be a pretty good show. like to ask people, if you're a new watcher, to hit that like button and subscribe. It helps with YouTube putting out video to more people. So when a random person goes on YouTube and goes to the tiles and sees information on what videos are out there, the more likes you get, the more they push out your stream, then the more people can take the opportunity to watch it. I know about 2 months ago, I started a stream, and several of the first 10 or 15 people started watching it, liked it right away, and I ended up with about 1,500 viewers, which is great for me. So, thank you if you have hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Now we're getting into some heavier rain. Right now I have to concentrate on driving. So if I don't talk very much, because I'm concentrating on the road in front of me. When you get flashes of lightning like that, you want to stay on the road. there's a lot of hills through here, so there's a lot of pass lanes. And the night light. This cell is putting out some really good lightning. Home tonight, I'll have to take one of those strikes that were in front of me, use it as a tile for my stream, like that one. Up on Lancaster in a few minutes. A lot of times you can see like the city lights. When it's raining as heavy as it is, you're not going to see the lights. That was close. Right off to the side behind me. You know, it's close when it vibrates your seat. Power's out here, which would make sense. The street lights are all out. size. The streets are starting to get, the low spots are starting to collect water in Lancaster, Wisconsin. So we'll run through the downtown here. Detour next 10 miles. I hope that's for a county road. I just came through here 2 weeks ago and there were no detours. Starting to hail a little bit more, so there is a quick trip up here. I think I'll just pull in and park for a minute in case any of these hailstones decide they want to get a little larger. I don't expect them to, or they would have gone severe with the storm, but you never know. Of course, there's nowhere to park. So we'll sit here for a minute, let this pass. Thank you, Quick Trip, for having the canopy. Available. So the rain will blow in here, but the hail is heavy enough that unless it really gets windy, it'll stay out. So about another 10 minutes, the storm will be beyond us. There, I can move my radar so we can see the Quick Trip sign. I've been a fan of Quick Trip for 30 years. I've always liked Quick Trip because you can go in there and you can buy product, and you don't feel like you bent over and grabbed your ankles. Milk's reasonable, eggs are reasonable, bananas. They make all their own donuts. They make all their own dairy. They have their own dairy farms, contracted. They have their own cattle and stuff too. And they're based out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, which in about an hour and a half, 2 hours we'll be driving through. Get back to Winona. Boy, driving in that vehicle next to us, you'd never know it was thundering. You'd never hear it. Actually, the tail end of the storm did develop a little more. He drove out and came back. Thank goodness he shut his vehicle off. Hope he knows the fuel tank's on the other side. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing there. Somebody knows what he was doing in there by lifting the door up and shaking the vehicle. Give me a comment on what you think he was doing. So let's take a look at the radar and see if there's anything developing after this. Another storm developing up north of Lansing, Iowa, crossing the river into Wisconsin. It's right where that spot in the river has that U shape. I would go home on the river, but last time I went through there, there was a detour. You couldn't get the Prairie du Chien from La Crosse on, I believe it's State Highway 35. So I had to go out to 61, which is Boscobel. So if I had to go out that far, I might as well stay out that far. That's one of the points I was making earlier. Why would I drive all the way back in the Prairie du Chien to drive another 10 miles south and then back out to 61 again? It would make no sense. So, like I said, I'll give us about another 5 minutes here, and we'll carry on north, and we'll probably run into that other storm that's developing. Well, the rain's let up, so I'm going to continue my journey north on Highway 61. So a couple of those lightning strikes were pretty close. Made it kind of interesting. So now maybe if those storms weren't in front of us still, I would probably just end the stream. But now that we have those storms developing to the north, I'll just leave the stream going and enjoy the lightning. If you like the lightning, then hit that like button. I will. Move my radar back over to the other side. That's what I like about my software. I can move things around on the fly. A little bit easier to drive when you're not having a downpour and lightning hitting all around you. I'm not sure. I think it's 15 miles maybe to Fenimore, maybe a little farther. As you can see, there is lightning developing in front of us to the north. only seen one or two frogs jumping across the road. A lot of them probably got washed off the road. So by the looks of the radar, we probably will run into a little bit more rain. I'd like to welcome everybody watching. My channel's called The Weather Monkey. My name is Joe Cooper. I live in Winona, Minnesota. Today I was chasing down in southern Wisconsin. Throughout most of the day, there wasn't a whole lot going on, so I didn't start streaming till later. There was a chance of a few of these severe storms becoming tornadic with short-lived tornadoes. That didn't seem to happen, and then it started dark, and it got dark, and when it gets dark, chances of seeing one of those short-lived tornadoes is pretty remote, especially with pouring rain. Unless you're looking at your wind velocity radar, you're probably not even going to notice it. So there have been some severe warned storms, but for the most part, they've just been for 50-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. I don't think there's been anything bigger. There was a lot of lightning between Platteville and Lancaster. Now we're heading north to Fenimore on Highway 61, and the road's dry. Never even rained here out of this last batch of thunderstorms that have developed. So it's been an interesting evening between Platteville and Lancaster. Lightning hit close enough that the thunder was right when the flash came, and my car vibrated. I could feel my seat vibrating from the thunder, from the concussion of the lightning strike. So that was really close. I would say it was probably on a utility line, possibly, that runs alongside the road, right next to me. And there were a few others that were close also. So we'll probably go through it all again here in a little bit, as there is another storm developing and moving across the Mississippi River from Iowa, north of Prairie du Chien. So we'll see how the rest of the evening goes on the way back home. So we're coming into Fenimore. It doesn't appear they had any rain. Possibly even today at all. Totally don't need my wipers on anymore. Like I said, there is a storm that has developed to the north. So if you go west here on 18, you'll end up in Prairie du Chien. We're going to go north on 61. So our next community we run into will be Boscobel. Which is 11 miles from here. So that lightning up ahead is starting to become a little bit more noticeable. This storm to the north here, I don't think it's as intense as the one we drove through between Platteville and Lancaster. I noticed my location wasn't changing on my stream, so I just eliminated it. Sometimes it works great. I mean, you can use it, it'll change every time you go through a community. It gets to a certain point where it just stops working. I don't understand why it does that, but it does. So there is a way to take your phone and mirror it to your MacBook, but that takes away your remote camera. Can't do them both. I use an iPhone at times for a left or right camera out the window, and if I mirror, I can't use the camera left or right. So I think it's more important to have that right or left camera than it is to show where the location I'm at is updated with GPS. So I don't know if that lightning's showing up on my camera or not right now. It's kind of weak, but the next 10 minutes I'm sure it will get brighter. So we should be coming up on Boscobel here pretty quick. somewhat in a lull right now between storms. I would say by the time we get out of Boscobel, another storm will be pretty close. And it looks like we're about 5 minutes at the most from Boscobel. Probably even closer to that than that. Just joining me, you see a storm on the radar to the south. I went through that storm about half hour, 40 minutes ago, and it was a torrential downpour from Platteville, Wisconsin to Lancaster, Wisconsin, and a lot of vivid lightning. It was a very interesting drive, put it that way. So now we're in Boscobel. So we'll get through the downtown here, and I believe we start heading up on the bluff, up on the ridge. Right now we're in the Wisconsin River Valley. The Wisconsin River comes through here and empties into the Mississippi to the west. So I'm pretty sure when we leave Boscobel, we go back up on the ridge. And it's kind of like up and down several times. Before we get to Viroqua. But I have noticed the lightning becoming more frequent. Like I said, it doesn't look like it rained here today. Could have much earlier. So we'll cross the Wisconsin River right here, and then we'll take a right, and then run along the river for a little bit, and then we go up on top of the ridge. I believe this is Crawford County we're in now. So Crawford County, Wisconsin. It's just north of Boscobel, Wisconsin. So it's east west.
Matthew Cooper.
Just a minute, I have to take a phone call. I'll put you on mute and be right back. So that was my son calling, asking how my day went. He wanted to know if I thought the mailman came later today, and I told him, go check the box. Because sometimes he comes early in the morning, and sometimes he comes later in the day. I've had my mail delivered at 8 o'clock at night. So you think, well, didn't get any mail, and then you hear the mailbox on the side of the house. Like, is that the mailman just getting here now? And yeah. Most of the time it's not much later than 6. Sometimes it is 8 o'clock in the evening. So the road's wet here again. We just had a slight sprinkle. And there is a storm that's just to the north of me. If you look on my stream on the radar, you'll see it. So it must have rained a little heavier here because there's some ponding in the low spots on the road. My Co-Pilot 360 is having a hard time picking up the fog line and the center line. Yeah, it must have rained pretty good here because, like I said, there's ponding on the road. And it's starting to rain pretty good again. So I'm not kind of silent right now because I'm trying to concentrate on the road. And there is a little bit of fog, and that doesn't help. Wind up here too. We're on top of the ridge now. There's definitely a little bit more wind up here. sure there's not much traffic for Saturday evening at 10 o'clock. Now the rain's let up a little bit. So I think we're pretty much out of the rain. There's a storm to the west of me, but I think it's going to slide to the south, just behind me. I'd say by the time I get to Baroque, the roads will be dry again. Still watching, I want to say thank you. I know things have kind of settled down here a little bit from earlier. I am north on 61. Out of Boscobel. The next community is Baroque. As I head north back up into Minnesota. Small community here called Rolling Ground. I know why they call it that. It's like the fields just kind of roll. From La Crosse, Wisconsin. still a little bit more lightning to my left. Coming into a small community called Soldiers Grove. Population 552. Some guy behind me just turned his headlights off, turned them back on. I don't know. The speed limit's 45, and that's what I was going. So I don't know what his problem was. I do know it hasn't rained here. Well, we'll head west for a little bit, and then you'll be able to see the lightning a little better. Clear north of here. So now we're in Vernon County. turn my wipers off. I don't think I'm going to need them anymore. Up here, I'll make a left turn and see if we can pick up some of that lightning. If not, I'll probably end the stream. We shall see. Right here is where Highway 61 and Highway 14 combine for the next several miles up through Winona, and then they go their separate ways again. But for the next 75 miles or so, they're together. Kind of in a valley here, so you can't really see that lightning to the south of me. But we kind of went around that storm. Kind of split between two of them. Caught the tail end of the one. Got in front of the next one, so now they're both to the south of us. So I'll get around this corner here. Can't really see it, but we'll end the stream. Well, it does look like there's some lightning still to the west and north of me, which there shouldn't be because I really don't see anything on radar. We'll find out in a minute. Everything's pretty much to the west of me and south. There are a few more raindrops on the window. Sign back there that said Wayside, like a mile, half mile ahead. I don't quite remember, but it reminds me of one time when I was out storm chasing. It wasn't dark yet. It was about halfway, I would say, between light and dark. The sun had already set. I went by one of those Wayside, and there were 3 deer just standing in there by a picnic table. I thought that was kind of funny that those 3 deer were sitting in there. Like, it's a Wayside, we should just hang out in here for a while. I don't know if there was food by the picnic table or what, but it was kind of funny. We'll come up out of this valley here in a minute. If we can't see much lightning, like I said, I'll end the stream. So, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. If you haven't hit that like button yet, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, I do this as a hobby. I am retired, and I used to watch the weather every day because I had a snow removal and lawn service business. Every morning I got up, I had to check the weather. And of course, I kept track of when storms were going to move into the area where I was working, or snowstorms. That's kind of on the other side of it. Darn it, it's going to rain today. When's it going to rain? Hoping it's after 6 o'clock. Now I wake up and I look to see if it's going to rain and storm, and hope it does. So it's completely flipped. I remember one time I went out to mow lawns. It's when I was still working nights. I started cutting grass and it started raining, so I went back to my truck and I hopped in the truck and fell asleep. Woke up about an hour and a half later, the sun was out and everything had dried off. Finished cutting the lawns. So, this hill. And I really don't see anything to the north of me. So, I think until next time, I appreciate everybody for watching. So I gotta go through this roundabout. When I get through this roundabout, I'll end the stream. There is a lot of lightning to the south, but it's off in the distance. Not a whole lot to look at. I'm through the roundabout. And it's about time to end the stream. So everybody have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy your evening or night. And we'll see you again next time. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.